Aging is natural, but aging healthily requires awareness. I'm Dr. Jack Stone. After age 60, many people use pain relievers quite frequently, but some common pain relievers can have unexpected effects on the heart, stomach, and kidneys as we age. So which pain relievers may be riskier? And what do doctors generally recommend to patients over 60? We'll discuss that today. Part 1. Why do painkillers affect older bodies differently? Let's start with this fundamental question. Why might the same painkiller have a different effect at age 30 than it does after age 60? The reason is often not the drug itself, but the body's changes with age. As we age, the liver and kidneys may not process drugs as quickly as before. These two organs act like a filter system in the body. They break down many of the drugs we take, balance their effects, and eventually remove them from the body. But as we age, this process can slow down a bit. This sometimes means that a painkiller taken at the same dose may stay in the body longer or have a stronger effect than expected. Another important issue is concurrent medications. After age 60, many people take several different medications together, such as blood pressure medication, cholesterol medication, blood thinners, stomach protectors. Some painkillers can alter the body's balance when taken with these medications. For example, some common painkillers can contribute to increased blood pressure by affecting the body's fluid balance. Some can sensitize the stomach lining. Others can increase the workload on the kidneys. This does not always mean it will cause a serious problem. However, this is why doctors need to be especially careful with patients over the age of 60. For example, a 68-year-old patient of mine said he frequently used over-the-counter painkillers for knee pain. At first, he thought this was normal. However, over time, he began to notice small but steady increases in his blood pressure readings. Most of the time, people do not attribute these changes to medication. They think of reasons such as the pain increased, I'm getting older, or the weather changed. But sometimes, when you look a little closer at the picture, the small but significant effects of the medications used may become apparent. At this point, I would like to ask you a question. How often do you or someone you care for use painkillers when pain starts? You can write your answers in the comments. Such experiences can give others ideas. In the next section, we will give a clearer answer to the following question. Which painkillers are among the medications that doctors particularly want people to be careful about after the age of 60? Section 2. Which painkillers should be used with caution after age 60? Now let's get a little more specific. Which painkillers may require more caution after age 60? First, let's clarify this. Painkillers are very valuable drugs in medicine. They can significantly improve quality of life for many people. However, certain types require extra caution, especially in older adults. One such group is commonly known as anti-inflammatory pain relievers. These medications reduce inflammation to alleviate pain and are widely used for conditions like arthritis. However, in some individuals, these medications can affect several different systems. For example, some anti-inflammatory drugs can cause the body to retain salt and water. This can contribute to increased blood pressure in some people. This situation should be monitored more closely, especially in people already undergoing treatment for hypertension. Another issue is stomach sensitivity. These types of painkillers can weaken some of the mechanisms that protect the stomach lining. Therefore, long-term or frequent use may increase the risk of heartburn, stomach pain, or rarely, stomach bleeding in some people. For this reason, stomach-protecting medications may also be given to some patients along with these drugs. Another concern is the kidneys. The kidneys are important organs that regulate the body's fluid and mineral balance. Some pain relievers can increase the workload on the kidneys, especially when taken while dehydrated or in combination with other medications. For this reason, doctors often ask their elderly patients the following question. How often do you use this medication? Because sometimes the problem is not a single dose. The problem may be regular use that has become habitual without realizing it. At this point, let us reiterate. Not every painkiller is risky for everyone, and many people can use these medications safely under a doctor's supervision. However, especially after the age of 60, careful planning is needed regarding which medication to use, how much, and for how long. In the next section, we will address an important point. How can some of the most commonly used painkillers at home affect heart and kidney health? And how can these risks be reduced? Section 3. How can painkillers affect the heart and kidneys? Now let's look at another point that doctors pay particular attention to when talking to patients over the age of 60, heart and kidney health. Some common pain relievers work by affecting specific chemical pathways in the body to reduce pain and inflammation. This mechanism is quite effective in reducing pain. However, the same systems are also linked to the body's vascular balance and kidney blood flow. Therefore, in some people, these medications can cause small but important changes. For example, some pain relievers can contribute to fluid retention in the body. In some people, this can cause slight swelling in the feet, an increase in blood pressure, or the heart to work a little harder. Doctors are especially cautious with the following groups: people with high blood pressure, people with a history of heart disease, people whose kidney function is already compromised. Let me give you a brief example. A 70-year-old patient had been regularly using over-the-counter painkillers for several weeks due to back pain. The pain had indeed decreased, but after a while, an unexpected rise in blood pressure measurements was noticed. This does not always occur, but in some individuals the medication and existing health condition can interact. Another important point is fluid balance and dehydration. As people age, some may not drink enough water during the day. If this is combined with strong painkillers, the workload on the kidneys can increase. That's why doctors often advise elderly patients in particular to be careful not to become dehydrated when using painkillers. Let's reiterate an important reminder here. This information does not mean that painkillers are dangerous for everyone. Many people use these medications safely. However, especially after the age of 60, understanding the relationship between medication use and overall health becomes much more important. In the next and final section, we will focus on the following question. What are the safer approaches that doctors generally recommend when using painkillers after the age of 60? Section 4. Safer approaches to using painkillers after the age of 60. Now let's get to the most important point. Should painkillers be completely avoided? Most of the time, no. Pain relievers can be quite beneficial for many people, and when used correctly, can significantly improve quality of life. The goal here is not to be afraid, but to be more conscious about their use. One of the first things doctors usually recommend to patients over 60 is to use the lowest effective dose possible. That is, just enough to control the pain, but no more than necessary. Another important point is frequency of use. Sometimes people may start taking pain relievers every day without realizing it. In this case, it may be better to talk to your doctor and evaluate the underlying cause of the pain. In some cases, doctors may also suggest different approaches. For example, physical therapy, exercise programs, hot and cold applications, or some topical pain relievers may be more suitable for some people. It may also be helpful to ask the following simple questions when using pain relievers. Is this medication appropriate for my age? How long should I use it? Is it safe to take with other medications? These types of questions can make treatment safer. And finally, an important reminder, this video is for educational purposes only. If you regularly use painkillers, you should always consult your doctor before deciding to stop or change your medication. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like it. Also, if you have a loved one over the age of 60, sharing this information with them can be quite helpful, because sometimes all it takes to protect our health is a little awareness. See you in the next video. Stay healthy.